Hello, and thank you for joining the Champion Within podcast, your premier go-to spot for unlocking your winning mindset. Whether you're an athlete looking to elevate your game to the next level, a coach leading the charge, an enthusiastic parent cheering from the sidelines, or an educator molding young minds, the Champion Within podcast episodes are packed with value, sharing the tools and strategies to unlock your potential and rise to new heights. Hosted by mentor, coach, and mindset leader Kate McCauley. Let's sit back and enjoy today's episode while discovering your champion within. And now, here's Kate.
Hey champions, welcome into the Champion Within podcast. I'm your host, Kate McCauley. I am thrilled to share that my son, Ryan McCauley, is here today. Some of you might or might not know, if you've been following along for a little while, that the Champion Within programs, my workshops, my speaking engagements, pretty much all of the work I do has been inspired by this guy, Ryan McCauley, my youngest son. I describe his brain as a uniquely beautiful brain. And this means that he has ADHD, auditory processing, dyslexia. He had a speech delay. You would never know it now. He really just sees the world differently. And I got to tell you that I became a better teacher when Ryan went into the world of IEPs, where he needed some accommodations in the classroom. I also truly think that I am better at what I do in this mindset space because of the work I've done with Ryan. He has inspired pretty much everything that I do in my company. I'm really excited for us to talk about what he and I have learned together through his journey in education. He's about to be a 9th grader. I feel really old that that's going to happen, but he's going into high school in a couple weeks, right, Ryan?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I'm going to let you talk, Ryan, for a minute and just describe yourself to people, and then we'll get into the questions.
Okay, I'm Ryan McCauley. I have ADHD, and I'm a bit creative. I'm thinking up some ideas right now, and, well, yeah, I guess that's kind of it for now.
Okay. When you describe yourself and you say, I have ADHD, I'm a bit creative, I'm Ryan McCauley, do you think that because your brain is uniquely beautiful and you learn differently, that it has helped your creativity, and how?
Well, everyone's brain is unique in its own way. Everyone has challenges. It's basically just part of being human. Mortal, I guess you could say.
Do you think if you didn't have those differences, like ADHD and dyslexia, that you would be as creative?
Well, it depends. We don't really know. The only way for us to know that was if we could, somehow see into the multiverse and go through thousands of things. Like, for example, the multiverse. I mean, imagine the multiverse like this. You flip a coin, or throwing a dice, meaning that you have no idea what could happen in the universe. I mean, not tripping when you tripped could result in the whole world being in a nuclear apocalypse.
So you're going off to some different directions there. There's your creativity right there coming in.
Mm-hmm.
When I asked that question, you started thinking about all kinds of different things, which I really do love that just happens for you. You have a creative brain. And you're right. It is hard to know if you didn't have these learning differences, if you would be as creative, if you would be as cool as I think you are. Just like in the multiverse, for people who don't know, in the comics world, right, is what you're talking about there. We wouldn't really know unless the whole storyline was different, right?
Yeah.
So let's go back a little bit, Ryan. When you first started school at preschool and then kindergarten, you did do some testing for speech back then, and you had a speech delay because it was hard for people to understand some of the things that you were saying. So you had to go to speech class. And then when you got to 2nd grade, I, as your mom, had to go into the meetings and say, you know what? Ryan's just having some trouble learning how to read these words. It doesn't seem to be happening the way it should, but he's really smart. And I don't know if you remember those days, but you had to do so many different tests. And one time we went to a psychologist who was testing you to see, what's going on inside that uniquely beautiful brain. And when we left the testing, you said to me, can we not do any more tests? Do you remember getting tested a lot?
No, I do not.
You don't. Do you remember starting any of those services, like speech services that you got pulled out of class for, or Wilson Reading?
I remember Wilson Reading because I just ended that recently, so yeah.
For those who don't know, Wilson Reading is specialized for the dyslexia piece of Ryan's uniquely beautiful brain. Ryan, in your own words, if you were talking to someone who had no idea what Wilson Reading was, could you tell them how it helped you decode words?
I guess I won't be able to go into too much detail because, well, not a lot of people might understand it, I guess. It kind of depends on the person, really.
So when you go in there, does Mrs. Aaron, who was your Wilson Reading teacher, just say, let's read, and you're going to know how to read?
Of course not. That's not really how it works at all. That's like a moron's thought of it.
So I was keeping it real simple there, right? That would be a moron thinking you could just go in and, hey, let's practice reading. Now you can read. Go into just a little bit of detail. For example, you know what a scoop is in Wilson Reading, right?
Yeah.
But other people probably have never heard of that before. And my listeners always like to learn something new. If you were scooping a word, teach it to me. How would you scoop a word?
Basically like and. You basically just sound out the letters. Basically like going on sounds of what makes them and kind of scooping them, like drawing half circles kind of under them basically.
So if I had a word like Mississippi.
That's a difficult one.
That is a difficult word. Could you think of an easier word? I don't know. I'm trying to think of a word that maybe you would scoop. Like, how about together?
Okay. Together.
When you are in Wilson Reading, do you remember reading being difficult? Because in the beginning, when you were in first grade, second grade, you couldn't read the word T-H-E.
You mean the?
Yes.
Actually, kind of not really.
You don't remember those days?
No, but some words are going to be difficult, like some complicated words.
So are some words still difficult for you?
I mean, yeah, ones I haven't seen.
What would you do in a reading situation if it was in science class or history class or just reading for enjoyment if you came across a difficult word?
Honestly, I would have sounded out. Well, first I would have to ask someone how to say it, then sound it out in my head. Honestly, have you ever noticed when, like, people just read something, they're reading, like, out loud instead of their head? That's kind of weird. Is it just me?
When people are reading out loud and you can hear them saying it?
Yeah, I mean, why not just do it in your head? A lot of times there's words you do not want to people hear say, even if you're just reading them.
And why wouldn't you want people to hear them?
Depends on the word and the person.
Give me an example.
I can think of one, but
you can
it
say
is something I do not want to say. It's extremely offensive to a certain group of people.
Oh, okay. So maybe it would be offensive to people, so you wouldn't want to read that out loud. Breathe through the stress, deal with drama, build confidence, push through fear, break the mental junk holding you back. This isn't some sit on a cushion for an hour type of vibe. It's real, it's fast, it's for the doers, the busy parents, the athletes, the goal-getters who feel stuck or overwhelmed. Pop in your earbuds and hit play, because if you want different results, you gotta do something different. Your momentum starts here. Mindset Mode is live. Let's go. I'm so excited for you to access this. Go to the show notes after this podcast, tap on the link, and it's all yours. We talk a lot, you and I, about advocating for yourself. What does it mean to advocate for yourself, and how would you advocate?
To basically just ask for help.
How do you do that? That's hard for some people, Rye. It's not easy. Yeah. You and I talk about asking for help a lot.
And I know it's hard for people. Usually in school, I raise my hand and ask the teacher.
If you couldn't pronounce a word, is that what you would do?
I mean, basically, yeah.
What advice would you give someone who's afraid to raise their hand because they don't want to look dumb? some people are afraid to admit that they don't know something.
It's a piece of ice. Everyone's dumb in their own way, and also smart too. That's one of the interesting things about being, human. We basically don't know anything. A lot of us don't have knowledge of some stuff, mostly because it's withheld from public knowledge, or we don't keep track with public things. Like, for example, people who don't read comics might not even know what DC's Absolute Universe is.
I would love to change that word when I said some people don't want to feel dumb. You're right. We really have things in our life, every single human, if we're honest, that we don't know. Do you think it's easy for people to admit what they don't know?
I mean, a lot of people lie, and there's nothing to be ashamed about. Sometimes it is, if you're, cheating on someone, of course, but a lot of times we just lie to make people happy, because, sometimes lies are better than truths.
Do you think sometimes kids, or maybe even adults, might be lying about their ability to read or focus?
I mean, yeah, because they might be ashamed of it. For adults, it's probably because they're very ashamed. I mean, the adults who can read. Would you be ashamed if you were an adult who couldn't read?
I think I would feel less than, and that's why it was so important for me, for you, to get these services as soon as possible. I really do think it changed your whole educational journey because, some kids or adults even don't get those services like Wilson reading or speech class. Do you think your life would be different if you didn't have those services?
Yeah, I mean, it has to. I mean, the entire world would be different. It could be very confusing and strange. You just don't know what could happen unless it happens to you.
Right. So if you didn't get Wilson reading, if you didn't get speech services, life could be different. Would it be more difficult?
I mean, of course it might be. I won't be able to read. That's basically it, I guess I could think about with that.
Brian, sometimes teachers have a difficult time understanding dyslexia and auditory processing. ADHD, they can often see and say, yep, that kid's got a lot of energy. But dyslexia and auditory processing, they can't see inside a student's brain. What would you want to tell teachers if they got a roster this year and on that roster, one of the students had a little star next to it just to give the teacher a heads up that they have dyslexia, that they have auditory processing or ADHD. If you could give teachers a tip, what would it be?
Honestly, I feel like it shouldn't be coming from the student, but more from education. And
You're right. The student shouldn't have to give the tip, but since you've been on that journey, maybe you've had some teachers that have done great things and don't name their names, but maybe you've had some teachers who weren't so great. So if you could give a tip to teachers to be great for a student that has a uniquely beautiful brain, what would you tell that teacher?
I mean, it depends. Who's the student? How do they act? I mean, it all depends on the student and who the teacher is anyway, so honestly, there's no tip you could give to someone that wouldn't, jeopardize and be incorrect because, humanity is like a society, and societies and for a perfect society, you need conflict.
Okay. So I think it's okay. I think that it's okay.
Yeah, I do. That would be confusing people how I went to that. I'm honestly getting confused myself. I'll admit.
You're kind of confused yourself. We're going to talk about that again. So I agree with you that I think you actually did just give a tip there where you said you'd have to know the student. You'd have to know the teacher. You didn't intentionally give a tip, but you did. Yeah. What could a teacher do to get to know their students?
Well, first of all, the teacher would have to decide how to. I mean, it can be different for anybody, but really how to understand and know your students is up to you. You have to decide how to do that.
Some teachers are better than others, Ryan. I'm just going to say that. I'm thinking of some really good teachers that you had. Would you be okay if I name drop some of them?
Nah.
No, you don't want me to?
Yeah, I don't want to name any names here.
Okay, you're going to keep the names out of it.
Yeah.
Only positive ones.
Give them privacy.
Okay, give them privacy. Well, how about I just say their content area, and then you could tell me how you thought they did a good job. You had a math teacher. One time you came to my car at pickup and you had like glasses on your face that you got as a prize. I always thought that this teacher did an excellent job building rapport and getting to know you. It had nothing to do with dyslexia. You were learning math in there and you were actually really good at math. You don't have to drop the name of that teacher. You actually even moved up a level that year. That teacher recommended that you move up because you were crushing it.
And also the whole fact that I was kind of open a bit more, and also because if it's a person who doesn't really want the teacher to get to know you, this would just make it worse, and the student would just dislike you even more.
Wait a minute, hold on, I gotta interrupt there. You said you were open or the teacher was open a bit more?
Me, honestly, some students like to be closed off, and that's kind of okay. If you try to, get to know them, it will just make the student not like you and dislike you.
If you're like fake about it to get to know them?
No, it's more like if the student doesn't want people to know them and just wants to be, left alone. It could be just because, the best could probably be, when they're not in groups and when they're just doing stuff by their own because they can focus on one thing. That's kind of how a lot of people work.
People have different learning styles is what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah, that's basically it.
You were open to that teacher learning about you.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes you do like to work alone. However, there are times in life where we have to work in a group, right? First, I want to know this first question. Why were you open to allowing that teacher to get to know you?
Because I was young. Because, when you're young, you're more energetic. You kind of are still learning to be you, I guess.
You were still learning to be you.
Yeah.
It happened to be in 8th grade, the teacher I'm talking about.
Oh, wow, I did not know that.
You didn't know that. What grade were you thinking of?
I was thinking 4th or 5th.
You had some teachers in grade school that must have seen you as a really strong math student too then.
Yeah. Honestly was.
You were thinking of one, weren't you? No, you're not confused because we didn't say the name.
Honestly was. Honestly, I don't remember a lot of my teachers by name.
Right. Does that happen a lot for you, that you don't remember people's names?
Yeah, when it's far enough away, you tend to forget people's names. Nothing to be ashamed about that, too. It's part of being human. Our brains aren't perfect.
Great point. Nothing to be ashamed of there. I think I know the teacher you were talking about because I got an inside look at your learning during COVID. Wasn't that a weird time?
Yeah, it was a weird time for a lot of people. Made a lot of people think about who they are, too. When you're kind of left alone in the house, you really start to rethink who you are and who you want to be.
Great answer. Ryan, during that time, I don't know if you remember, but you jumped 12 reading levels. Do you remember that during COVID?
No, honestly, I don't.
You don't. It kind of makes me happy that you don't remember a lot of the struggle during reading and that you just got to a place where you are now where you finished Wilson reading. Alongside with the teachers, I'm not sure if you know this, Ryan, but when you were young, I would go into meetings and say, Ryan needs to have the best of the best for the teachers because like we were just saying, some teachers are better than others. Do you have any tips where you would love to say to someone, if you ever taught a kid who has ADHD or dyslexia, don't do this? Don't name drop, by the way. We don't want to, put anyone out there.
I cannot think of anything. Or anything from any specific teacher.
Okay. All right. Well, is there anything that I've ever done as a mom that made learning harder for you?
Honestly, no, not really.
Okay. All right. So in addition to building relationships, I think it's important that teachers, you were on football teams, you did karate, and then most recently you were in stage crew. I really do think it's important for all the people in your life to know about your uniquely beautiful brain. So I would tell them when you were on the football team or when you were going to karate and your stage crew, those different places, they knew you as a whole person. Do you think it's a good idea that I told the coaches and your teachers the people when you were in stage crew, different things, that Ryan has ADHD. He has dyslexia. He learns a little bit different. He's awesome and creative, all the other things you're great at. But I let them know about you as the whole person. Do you think that's important for people to do for their kids?
Yes, I think that is.
Why is that important?
Then people can't really blame you, as when people don't know, they'll just say you weren't being good because, well, you kind of just have an excuse. Your brain kind of works differently, so a lot of time you might miss some things. So sometimes if people don't know that, they'll probably blame the person. And honestly, that's not something very good for, well, self-esteem and a person's development.
If the person didn't know, they would maybe blame the kid or get angry, which would then impact their self-esteem, and that's not really good for their development.
Yeah.
Now, I gotta say something. We all make mistakes sometimes, right?
Yeah, everybody does.
Right. One time, you were in a situation in school and somebody was struggling to read, and you said, maybe you're dyslexic. And they got upset about that, right? Why is it important, even though I tell people about your differences and your uniquely beautiful brain, why is it important, and you learned a lesson there, not to diagnose other people if you're not, the teacher, the doctor situation?
Because of your lack of information. I mean, you could misdiagnose someone just off of information. You should not just, for example, if people just Google possible symptoms on different websites, they could misdiagnose themselves. You're not a professional.
Right. So you learned that lesson that you're not a professional. I think you were trying to be nice to that student and helpful, but what lesson did you learn when you said that and you realized that, that other student got upset?
Honestly, it can really upset people. That kind of shows, self-esteem and stuff. You have to think before you say.
And can you say that again for the people who weren't listening? Because I think that's for every area of life.
You have to think before you say or do.
Right. Hey, coach, tell me if any of this sounds familiar. Your athletes, they're training hard, but when it's game time, their performance, it's just not matching up. Sometimes when they're making mistakes, they're looking in the stands, seeing the reaction from whoever's there as the fan club. That pressure's eating them up inside. There's team drama, excuses. Sometimes the parents are enabling the bad habits. Athletes who can't take feedback or they just don't believe in themselves. Heartbreaking. Meanwhile, you're feeling all of this stress piling up, and you're starting to question if you should even keep coaching. Here's the truth. It's not a skills problem. It's not a you problem. It's a mindset problem. I work with teams as a mindset specialist, helping athletes handle that pressure, trust the training, and build confidence they need to actually perform so you can get back to your coaching and the team can get back to winning. So if you're tired of coaching through all that chaos, send me a DM. Let's get your team's head in the game, literally. All right, let's move to some things that you and I have done, because I'm not a Wilson expert. I'm not a speech therapist. I couldn't do those things for you. That's why you needed those specialists in the school. You and I have done some things with mindset. Did you know that you are the inspiration behind a lot of the work I do?
Mm-hmm. Wait, just told me a few minutes ago. So yeah, now I do.
You just found out. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about some of the things that you and I have done that I also do with teams. I do it in workshops. I do it in speaking engagements. Ryan and I have an affirmation that we said back and forth. Now he's getting into high school now, so we're probably not going to use the same one. No. He won't need this, but when he was younger, we used to say it all the time. But now that he's going into high school, I think there's probably just one statement that we would maybe continue. But let's say the one that maybe younger kids could use. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Today's going to be a
great day.
I'm going to do my
best work
because
I am smart.
When things get hard,
I work harder.
I can
and I will.
McCauley's
never give up. Did you really have to use that part, Mom?
You didn't want me to use that part? That's our family part. We probably wouldn't tell people to do that, right? Yeah. Now, there's one line that we stole from a podcast guest, actually, that you could still keep for high school. And it is, if it is to be,
it is up to me.
Do you think that's something you could use for high school and life?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you know I use that in my business, Ryan?
I have no idea.
I do use the statement, if it is to be, it is up to me, which I got from Mike Ritchie that was on my podcast, and I know you can use that too. Why do you think that morning mantra that we would say in the car, even if they don't use the same exact words as us, is so important?
It can help a person decide how they're going today. Sometimes that might work and sometimes it isn't. But it always helps keep people hopeful. But here's something to remember. Sometimes you need to let go of hope, and there's a time for hope and there's a time where it isn't.
Okay. So if something doesn't work out and you're like losing hope, we've had some other strategies that we've used, right? Like when you're feeling a setback, we've used what's called tapping. Do you remember the tapping things that we've done? That's called emotional freedom tapping, and people don't necessarily have to know that. Sometimes they call it EFT. But do you remember that we tap on different parts of our body? And that's usually if we're dealing with something difficult to move through it.
Mm-hmm.
So would you be cool if we go through a tapping series?
Yeah.
All right, so you can show people where you start at the tap, that you start, which we call the karate chop, right? And when I guide you through, you basically repeat after me. Pick one thing that might be hard for a kid, maybe not you anymore.
I can do this.
Okay, that's a statement you could say. I can do this. So do you want to just repeat that through all the different places, or do you want me to guide you through the setback?
Yeah, just go with that.
Okay, so eyebrow, and what are you saying?
I can do this.
Side of eyes.
I can do this.
Under eyes.
I can do this.
Under your nose.
I can do this.
Chin.
I can do this.
Collarbone.
I can do this.
Under your arm.
I can do this.
And the last one, top of your head.
I can do this.
It's as simple as that, right? And remember, we tap on the different body parts, which kind of just gets the body reset and aligned. We did that in the morning in the car too sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it was annoying, right?
Extremely, yes.
Right. But when you did it, could you feel your body calming down?
Yes.
You're being half sarcastic. Sometimes you didn't love doing that, but it's probably because we were moving through a setback. You know, Ryan, one time when we were struggling with something, and it was in 8th grade, actually, when we did this again, I believe it was in your English class. You didn't love what you were reading, although you loved your teacher there. She was an awesome human. We had to do some mental imagery. And then you decided that you would be able to do that on your own. And you used to say that I'm going to take myself to where?
To my happy place.
And what does that mean? How does someone do that?
Kind of think of the place that brings you the most joy.
And how do you take yourself to the happy place? If you're let's say someone's at work and stressed, or maybe they're an athlete, or maybe they're a student at school, how could they take themselves to the happy place and not have to go into a full, meditative state for 3 hours? How could they do that quickly? Teach them on my podcast.
Just think about it. You just think of it and it will come to mind. That's how thinking works.
You're right. Do you need to be specific?
Just think about it and bam, you're there.
Okay. So if you were taking yourself to your happy place, how would it be? Could you describe it to people?
I just think about it in my mind and it comes to mind.
Do you think of the colors, the sounds?
If it brings you enough joy, it will be enough specific to also bring you joy.
Okay. So if it's something that brings you joy, it would be specific anyway?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. Sometimes you have used things like essential oils and different things. Of all the things that we've done, what do you think is the most powerful mindset tool for someone?
The happy place thing.
So visualization.
Yeah.
Yeah, the happy place thing is what you call it. I love that you just call it the happy place. People don't have to call it visualization. That's what it is, mental imagery. You're picturing things, and you really can just calm down your body and you go back to that place. Ryan, I also call that sometimes the competitive reset for my athletes, where they think of a really good time when they were playing their sport and they have a word and they go back there and we go through a whole process. I have a framework for that. And what's involved in it is really going to your happy place. Can you think of any other jobs or places where people could use visualization or go into their happy place?
Any part of life, honestly. Life can be stressful.
So when you're stressed, you could use go to your happy place. Ryan, what is the hardest part about having dyslexia, ADHD, and auditory processing?
Honestly, difficulties.
Difficulties?
Yeah, honestly, things that I find difficult. It can be unique to anybody. Everyone has difficulty. You don't even have to have ADHD. It's just being a part of human.
You're right. Everybody does have difficulties. Would you say that there's one difficulty you wish you could erase from your life?
Honestly, no, because then I wouldn't be me.
I love that answer so much. Let's go into some of your creativity because I do want to share that. You're going to be having a podcast come out soon.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah, we're getting it organized. You got the cover art done. We got to get in there and do some recordings, right? What's your podcast called?
Fan written.
And what's it going to be about?
Basically about stories and reviews every now and then, but also some ideas too.
Really cool. I don't want you to give all your ideas away because we don't want people to steal them. But if you had one creative idea, maybe related to comics or a current movie, would you share that with people?
Honestly, maybe people I trust not to steal it.
So you don't want to put it on the podcast?
No.
Fair enough. You don't have to do that. I would love for you to tell people how you're creative. You have a desk up in your room. What do you do there?
Draw.
What kind of drawings are you leaning towards? Again, you don't have to give your ideas away, but what's your favorite style?
My style.
You're the best, Ryan. But what is your style? My listeners don't know.
Everyone has a style. There's no really way to describe how you draw or how you write. Everyone has a unique style. There's no way to describe it more than that.
All right. So it's unique. Do you draw in color?
No, I prefer to do black and white stuff.
Okay. Do you like characters or objects?
Characters.
Would you say that you're a good guy character drawer or a villain?
Any character.
Yeah, you have a lot of different characters. Do you name them?
Maybe sometimes. Sometimes I just draw.
Okay, cool. I'm going to give you some flash questions where we go really quick and I want your answers. Whatever comes first to mind. Are you ready?
Okay.
Favorite food?
Pizza and curly fries, I guess.
What pizza?
Pizza from Sam's Pizza Palace. Go there, it's pretty good.
All right. Tell them where that's at.
It's at Wildwood.
All right. Peanut butter and jelly or grilled cheese?
Butter and jelly.
Soup or salad?
Neither.
Neither. Pizza or french fries?
Both.
Staying up late or getting up early?
Staying up late.
I thought you were going to say that one. What is your favorite time of year? What season?
Christmas.
Christmas. Why Christmas?
You can guess.
Presents.
Yes.
Yes. Who doesn't love that? The thing you are most looking forward to in high school. Don't think about it. Just answer. Rapid fire.
Growing up.
The thing you are least looking forward to in high school.
Growing up.
I love that you said that for both of those answers. So epic. Advice you would give to somebody who is just starting middle school. Learn. What a great piece of advice. Powerful, simple, learn. What advice would you give to somebody who is just starting elementary school?
Learn.
What advice would you give to teachers who are ending their summer and about to go in and teach new classes?
Relax.
I love that advice. What advice would you give to parents who are a little nervous for their kids to start school? Doesn't matter if it's elementary school, middle school, high school, college. We all get nervous. What advice would you give us?
Relax.
Oh man, learn and learn, relax and relax. Right, you're a man of few words sometimes, but they are powerful. You know that? You know what I love watching you do the most? I love watching you draw. I love hearing you come up with and create stories. In the future, where do you think you will end up with your creativity?
Don't know. You can't predict the future. That what makes making your own life so good.
All right, Ryan, do you have anything else that you're dying to tell my podcast listeners all over the world?
Live your life how you want to live it.
Live your life how you want to live it. I love it. Are you ready for the final question?
Mm-hmm.
If you were in the movie called The Champion Within, you're the main character. The theater's got the movie playing and the screen goes to black right after a cliffhanger. What will the audience be yelling? Maybe they're going to social media, YouTube, all the places, and talking about, hoping that Ryan McCauley, who's the main character in The Champion Within, does next.
It depends. What type of main character am I?
Well, that's up to you. The movie's called The Champion Within.
In that case, I can't answer because I don't have all the information. For those types of answers, you need an in-depth and personal thing, or else it, won't work.
Should I give you some more information?
Well, honestly, I feel like that will work a lot more. And, for example, some movies would follow the villain instead of the hero, so yeah, there's that too.
Well, I didn't say you were a villain or hero. I just said you were the main character.
Exactly. I
So,
don't know if I'm the antagonist or protagonist.
All right, I'll pick one. The antagonist.
Then they would probably all want me to, fail, probably.
Ooh, failure. What do you think about failure?
It's a part of life, and just accept it.
You're right. Can you learn from failure?
Of course, but society, on the other hand, that's a different story.
You don't think society in general likes to learn from failure?
Mom.
Right.
Fake.
Be honest. What do you think's going on with society? Why are they so afraid of failure?
That's because humanity's afraid of failure.
What are they afraid of, do you think, though?
Failure. That's what I said.
Right. What's so bad about it?
You tell me.
I don't know. I think failure is research, personally. But I used to be afraid of it. When I started my business, I used to think that people would judge me if I didn't do well, or I started this podcast and no one listened. And, it's doing pretty well. I'm kind of figuring it out as I go. But I used to be afraid of failure. Now, I look at it as research.
Well, exactly. That's how you think. But how does everyone else think?
How do we switch that?
You have to go through failure.
Thank you, Ryan. They have to go through failure and let themselves fail. I teach that in a lot of my mindset workshops. You got to let yourself fail. It's going to suck during the failure, but you got to do it. So I'm going to come back to you again. If you're that main character, we'll go with the antagonist and the champion within, since you have a little more detail. It's about your whole life. All the stuff we talked about today in school and maybe stage crew. And, what would the audience hope happens next?
A sequel?
A sequel. Okay. I know that you're a guy who likes post-credit scenes.
Yeah.
Would there be a post-credit scene for the sequel?
I mean, why wouldn't there be if they want one?
What would it be? Would you be in it?
I mean, depends. Yeah, honestly, it depends. What's coming next?
You're not sure.
Yeah, no one is. No one is.
No one would know. You would like that mystery, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
So, Ryan, any questions you want to ask me?
Nope.
Nope. Ryan, well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and being on The Champion Within. I really hope that you enjoy these last few weeks of summer. We had a vacation already in New York, and now we're going to be heading to the Jersey Shore, where you're probably going to overdo it on pizza and fries.
I can assure you that is going to happen 100%.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Ryan. I love you so much. I'm proud of you, and I can't wait to see what happens next.
Same to you.
All right. Bye, Ryan. Thanks for hanging out. All right, champions. Thank you for hanging out with me today and my son, Ryan, on The Champion Within. I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for hanging out with Kate today. And whether you're going to coach, teach, cheer from the sidelines, or hitting the field yourself, remember, mindset is everything. Don't forget to follow the show for the latest episodes, as we all need a little extra motivation, humor, and sanity in our busy lives. Now, go and unleash your champion within you, one step at a time. We're always rooting for you.